What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the GSN Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, John J. II. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on a Wednesday, the 29th of July, 2026. July just flew by, didn't it? It usually does. We're getting to that point in the summer where it just seems to be on fast forward. We're moving quickly. Things are going by quickly. Days and weeks and months are seeming to fly by in a blur of sorts. But we're focused on football season. Football season is in the forefront. That's what we're looking forward to right now. But before we get there, we got some other things to talk about. I can't wait to get Robert back on here, the commissioner of the Pro Capper Fantasy Football League, presented by the GSN Sports Network and GSN Pros. We're happy to put that on again for another consecutive year. Things are in the works to get that planned out to make it as open as possible to the public, especially our community. So if you haven't joined our community yet, make sure to inquire to me or someone else on our team, and we'll get you in the community. The Discord community, which is the GSN Discord. It is the lifeblood of the GSN Sports Network. So make sure to get locked in and tuned in to that community as soon as you can, especially before football season gets here. Because we know it's right around the corner. We have football coming up in August. We know that the season is extended, and the NFL is here, and they've extended the season for our benefit. So it's a great thing for us to take part in, for us to enjoy, and it's going to be exciting stuff. Speaking of the NFL, we got to talk about my team, Bills Mafia. They unleashed their brand new uniforms. I believe it was earlier today or earlier this week. And it's taken the world by storm. Lots of mixed reactions when it comes to the Bills' new uniforms. I personally like them. Some people out there might think they're a little bit bland. I love the helmets. It's a new concept on the Bills logo. And I think they're clean. I think they're nice. It's a nice addition to the lineup of uniforms, kits, if you will, for my soccer people. And it's just a breath of fresh air. I think they needed a little bit of a revision. Obviously, classic uniforms, classic logos have been used for the Buffalo Bills since the mid-'80s. They haven't really seen much of a logo or uniform change since the 70s, going into the 80s. But it's one of those logos where it is classic. It's time-tested. It is one of those logos that resonates, that has the uniformity and has the uniquity of really any of the logos representing any of the teams. And it's on a short list of teams that have maintained a classic logo for their club over the years, over the decades. So I like a new take. I like it. I'm open to new interpretations, and the fans have to be too. Listen, I don't give a shit what they wear. They can wear blank jerseys as long as they produce a Super Bowl bid, which obviously wasn't able to be done with Sean McDermott. It's been mentioned before. It's been said by critics, colleagues of mine, analysts, and all of the like, that the window of opportunity for the Buffalo Bills is closing or may have already closed. I am a naysayer when it comes to that mentality. I am a firm believer that the window is not yet closed, but it's merely it's cracked a little bit more closed than it was per se, but I don't think we're even close to the windowsill when it comes to talking about the window of opportunity for the Buffalo Bills going into the 2026 season. I think that we are dealing with a team that has had good players come and go. We've maintained a lot of our backbone, especially in our quarterback core with Josh Allen. He's taken some hits. He's proven to us that he's not as malleable as he may think he is. He is in fact human. And contrary to popular belief, that is the reality of the situation. And we've seen that happen with a couple of minor injuries that we've seen him undergo towards the latter half of last season. And the rest is history, so to speak. But now we got a new mentality, a new coach in the clubhouse, and we have a lot to look forward to for Bills Mafia. So really minor news when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. We're going to be talking about players that will be added, subtracted to all the rosters of all the teams in the NFL. We'll talk about that in the coming weeks with Robert. Got to get him on here. And we know the summer kicks our ass. We know it does. Summers are always busy. Life is busy. Okay, we can cry the blues all we want about it. But the fact of the matter is we're getting back to brass tacks, and football season's right around the corner. So no matter how busy we are, we got to figure it out and get locked in before the end of August, because it's going to be here before we even know it. We know the weeks are flying by. We know the days are flying by. We just mentioned that. And you just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. We talk about it all the time. We talk about time. We talk about Father Time, right? We're not going to beat Father Time. We're not going to outsmart Father Time. We're not going to outthink Father Time. Father Time's in control of the day-to-day, of how fast or how slow time goes by. So a wise man once said, enjoy every day you got, because there's nothing like the present. And I'll leave it at that. Let's talk about soccer. Let's talk about something that's a little bit more bright spirits, elevated spirits, especially for my Azzurri fans out there, my Italians, my fellow Italians, my fellow Dagos, right? I'm happy with this move. Now, there's been some controversy. We wanted to see Paolo Maldini, the great defenseman of the Azzurri of old. He was going to come in and manage a team and kind of be behind the scenes somewhat with Andrea Pirlo. That wasn't to be because of Pirlo's affiliations with a Russian betting site or betting service. So that was a little bit unfortunate. Whoever's at the top and made that call, it kind of just added to the snowball effect of unfortunate events for the Azzurri and what has happened after missing 3 consecutive World Cups. I mean, damn. Does it really get any worse? Can it get any worse from here? I think if you can find a rock bottom, if you can recognize a rock bottom for the Azzurri, for the Italian national team, we're in it. We're in the midst of it right now. So a breath of fresh air, which it really begs the question, why did this man ever leave? Roberto Mancini returns to manage the Azzurri. That just came across my desk earlier today. And it's a breath of fresh air. But at the same time, it's a breath of old fresh air that we've breathed before, that we've seen and reaped the benefits of before. So it really begs the question, why do we ever get rid of Mancini? Because that was kind of when we were on the up and up. We saw some promise. We were looking good going into the 2022 World Cup. It wasn't to be. We lost to North Macedonia. It wasn't meant to be. We could deal with that. That was a tough one to swallow. But when we lost to Bosnia and Herzegovina in the knockout rounds of basically the dregs of, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel for teams to qualify because they didn't play good enough or they didn't play well in matches, whether they're considering friendlies, whether they're considering UEFA Nations League matches, whatever they're considering, they weren't in a position to have an easy bid in the 26 World Cup. And it's honestly for the best, because we rewind the tape and go back to April. That's 3 months ago. It seems like yesterday. But that's when we had to deal with heartbreak. That's when we had to deal with all the sorrow and things like that. And things have got better mentality-wise. At least for me, I was really hard on myself because I'm like, damn, really, we're going to miss 3 World Cups? You're talking about the 2006 champions. We've won several World Cups in the 20th century. So to see a team like Italy fall to their knees and really scrape rock bottom like they have, it's really hard to fathom. It's hard to stomach, especially for such a staunch Azzurri fan like myself. But we know the ebbs and flows of teams. The mighty, they're mighty, and then they fall. We got to deal with the fall. We're dealing with the fall right now, and hopefully it's dealing with itself and is going to create somewhat of a positive cycle to things. So Roberto Mancini returns to coach the Azzurri. I think this is a great move. I think this is a great move from the higher-ups within the federation. And these decisions had to be made. And I almost wish we would have got to them sooner. It was tossed around, maybe get Pep Guardiola in there. They were talking about, teasing about bringing Antonio Conte back. But listen, I think this is the greatest move they could have done. They're going to be bringing players from the U21 squads. They're going to be bringing in players from Serie B. They've already cleaned house with the first form for the Azzurri. Got rid of a lot of players. I think they even cleaned out a lot of great players that would have been a great asset to the Azzurri. But we've seen how they performed in their last few friendlies following their failure to make a bid in the World Cup. And they look great. It's a younger team. It's a team that's playing with poise. It's a team that's playing with purpose. And that's what you need in an Italy team. That's what we see in the 2020 Euros. Now, you can call it a consolation. You can call it an asterisk Euros win. But I think that's all bullshit. Okay, you can say what you want. We've seen World Cups be won on penalties, and nobody likes to see it. But that Euros was won in penalties. Italy was clearly the better team, and who I feel the worst for, and I've said this before, is I feel bad for Gigi Buffon, and I feel bad for Gigi Donnarumma. Okay, just because these guys have so much heart, they have so much passion for the team. Donnarumma is basically the next evolution of Gigi Buffon. He carries the torch perfectly. But unfortunately, we've seen good players come and go. A lot of the players that played in the 2020 Euros squad are either too old or they've not been chosen or opted out of playing for the national team. So it is what it is. There's been a lot of turnover. There's been a lot of changeover. And they're rebuilding, literally from the ground up. I mean, you're talking about a team that had it all in the Euros. They're looking promising. Yes, they got some guys that are on their way out, but you got a great base of players, young and old, that are making this squad what it is. And you've seen it essentially all dissipate. You lost Insigne. You lost Chiesa. You lost Lorenzo. You obviously lost Chiellini. But a lot of players, you cleaned house. You got some guys in there. They won a few games by the skin of their teeth, made it through the first round of the knockouts, okay? And then they shit themselves against Bosnia. So they cleaned house to get them since the 2020 Euros, and now they cleaned house again for the following friendlies after that failure to make a bid. So it's a lot of cleaning house. It's a lot of figuring it out, but I think Mancini will get them back to a position of high potential and greatness. So that's what we're looking forward to. That's what I expect from the Azzurri team. That's what we all expect to see. Be the middle of the pack. Okay, be the middle of the pack, but always have the potential for more. We were just grasping at straws too much for this World Cup bid, and it wasn't meant to be. I'm glad we didn't make it in retrospect because we didn't have the team. We didn't deserve to be there. So if you put that 2020 Euros team there in the World Cup in 26, it's a different story. Obviously, we're talking several years later now. These guys are getting older. And you would have to clean out some of those guys, but try to bring them back. Bring them back for one more run. I think you make a bid, especially in those knockout games. And I just got to tip my cap to Moise Kean because he didn't deserve this. He was the one player that played with poise. And there's a handful of other guys that did too. But a lot of them looked like they didn't give a shit enough. And that breaks my heart. Okay, switching gears, talking about the Rocket Classic, so to speak. This is what I've heard through the grapevine. This is kind of what's in mainstream media and social media right now. That this is the last Rocket Mortgage Classic at Detroit Golf Club. And it breaks my heart because we already lost the Buick Open, which was the only PGA Tour event in Michigan for the longest time. We had nothing for a long time. Then they brought the Rocket Classic to Detroit Golf Club. That was a beautiful thing, and now they're on their way out. So it's like, what's going on? Can Michigan retain a PGA Tour event? Is that possible? Can we do it? We have the tracks to do it. Okay, we have the sponsors to do it. We have the companies and corporations to do it. Why can't we make it happen? So if it's not going to be Rocket Mortgage, who's it going to be? Who's going to step up to the plate and make it happen? Hopefully somebody does, and somebody does fast, because Michigan needs a PGA Tour event. And coming off the 3M Open, Jackson Coyvin with a big win, the 21-year-old coming out playing poise, beating Scotty down the stretch and making great things happen, hitting some great shots to not only clinch the win, but to dominantly secure the win. And that's something you don't really see out of young players anymore. We're seeing the future of golf unfold before us, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a great time for golf. In that same breath, LIV cancels its season finale in Michigan, the $40 million event that was going to be a team event. They canceled it due to a lack of funding, and we're seeing LIV Golf slowly dissipate before our eyes. Now, what does this mean for the LIV golfers, the LIV players? Are they just going to all pull a Brooksy and come back to the PGA Tour? I don't know if it's going to be that easy. But it comes back to the mentality of when we were swearing up and down about the downfall of LIV to the game of golf, not just to the players, not just to the community, not just to the legacy of the PGA Tour, but what it really meant for the game of golf and how detrimental it would have been. We didn't really know what the fallout would have been. It was too early to tell. Okay, we didn't have that in the periscope right away. But now, since we can see it unfold, we can see lack of funding take place, we can see season finales get canceled with large purses. These effects are taking their toll, and they're taking their toll on the golfers. But really, it's taking its toll on the PGA Tour as well and the game of golf as a whole. So how are we going to see this all play out? How is this going to, affect the players post-LIV? Because I think we can kind of assume there's going to be a post-LIV generation that is upon the horizon that we can see in the distance. So how will that all play out? It's too early to tell still, but we can kind of see the writing on the wall. We can see things starting to unfold for the LIV Tour and its shortcomings. When you don't have a tour based on legacy, when you don't have a golf tour that is built over centuries of work, you can beat the hell out of the word legacy, but that's really what it is: legacy, tradition, and love for the game. That's the three greatest things about the PGA Tour. You might not have the big price tags, but still you do. If you go out and you win a tournament, a lot of times you're turning upwards of $800K to over $1 million. So that's a pretty damn good payday, in my opinion. That's going to pay for a lot of future events. That's going to gain you bids depending on the event that you win. If you do win, like Jackson Coyvin winning the 3M, there's a certain amount of criteria that are met that are essentially guaranteed bids in future events. And obviously, the larger the tier of the event, the more prominent events that you qualify for and will gain berths for. So things to consider. You'll never beat the legacy of the PGA Tour. And honestly, if you stand with the PGA Tour in similar tours like the European Tour, the Asian Tour, the Korn Ferry Tour, used to be the Web.com Tour, these are things, the DP World Tour, these are all tours that are in conjunction with the PGA Tour. Maybe they're independent, but they're not a counter tour, if that makes sense. You can get lost in the weeds with that, but essentially if you're on the PGA Tour, you can go off and play on the DP World Tour. You can go off and play overseas in the European Tour. You can get in the weeds and play on the Asian Tour. And we see these things happen. We see PGA Tour players play in European Tour events all the time. So this is just one of those things that it's sad to see, but I won't shed a tear and I won't stay up at night thinking about LIV when it crumbles into obscurity. And it's going to happen. We can kind of tell it's going to happen. The writing's on the wall. What will happen with the golfers? We're left to speculate about that. Okay? So that's where we're at. Going back to the NFL, Tony Romo has been taken in for OWI, operating while intoxicated. Now, you could say he's better than that. You could say he's, maybe got a little swifty on the golf course. But he said he was on the way to Grandma and Grandpa's house. We all know that's bullshit. Okay? This guy can't hide anything. This guy looked lit. We can go back and watch the dash cam and the body cam footage. We can tell that he was lit. He might have had too many beers, too many cocktails. He's probably drinking Pink Whitney, if I had to guess. That's probably his drink of choice. And we're going to dub him Dallas's clown. Back in the day, we talked about Baker Mayfield. He was Cleveland's clown. Tony Romo doesn't even compare. He blows that mentality, that comparison entirely out of the water. We know this guy's a clown. He's been a clown for a long time. Plays for a clown franchise, a failed franchise. And it is what it is. These things happen. I don't wish ill will upon anybody. This guy's a family man. Decent golfer. Everybody steps on their you-know-what every once in a while. He did it this time, and you can say he pulled a Tiger Woods, but I would say that's too soon. So Tony Romo is going to do what he has to do. I think he'll be fine. Thank God nobody else got hurt in the process. Thank God he didn't get hurt. Thank God nobody got hurt in this process. But don't drink and drive, guys. It's very simple. Very simple to follow. And if you do it responsibly. It's very simple. We're all adults. Okay? If you're an adult and you're going to go out and have a few, be smart about it. Think about it. Your life is at stake. And not only that, but the lives of others are also at stake. Aaron Rodgers will return for one more dance. I think it's going to be with the Steelers, but with no Mike Tomlin, it kind of begs the question. And Rodgers is going through coaches like he's going through M&Ms because you're just seeing him drop like flies. And he's still in the NFL, but the coaches that have been there for a while, that have cemented themselves with certain franchises, they're dropping off the wagon. Why is that happening? We don't know. I want to talk to Robert about what he thinks about Rodgers coming back. We thought last year was going to be it. And I guess, what are your expectations for an Aaron Rodgers coming back for one more dance? I don't know what to expect. It's going to be entertaining, to say the least, when we see him take the field. Okay? Because we know they have better options. We know they have Drew Aller. Yeah, I think that could be a quick trigger pull, and you might see an early exit if that takes place, if he gets an early injury. I don't want to say anything like that. I don't want to wish any ill will upon anybody, and I don't. I just know that he's getting old. He's getting up there, and you just don't want anything unfortunate to happen, right? To a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he's built himself up in his own right in the NFL. You don't want to see anything bad happen. And you want to see a guy leave with grace and honor. And the longer you play, the more you risk leaving without that honor. And you don't want to do that, okay? Without switching gears too much, you can talk about it and draw the same parallels with Novak Djokovic, getting damn near close to 40. He's chasing 25. He wants to get another major. I want him to get another major. Okay, I love Joker. No, I'm a big Joker fan, right? But you don't want to see him have a bad exit where it's like, okay, well, damn. You could have left when you were here. You were pushing for this goal. You chased this goal, chased it up and down the road. You didn't get there, and now you have to be done. We don't want to see that happen, especially with Joker. So just be smart about it. It's tough to do. I get it. It's tough to do. Once you've been playing a sport for so long at the highest level, to then say, you know what, I'm going to hang the cleats up and we're done. It's really hard to do that. And a lot of players in a variety of sports have a very difficult time doing that. I don't blame them. I don't wish any ill will upon any of these guys, like we previously mentioned. But you got to leave with grace. You got to leave with honor. Leave at the top of your game. Know when to leave with grace and know when to hang up the cleats. It's hard to do, but you got to do it. Your legacy depends on it. And we've seen the adverse effects of players and coaches. And we won't name names. But we've seen it happen to players and coaches that have failed to follow those directions. And they've paid dearly because of it. Real quick, talk about the Tigers. Tariq Skubal gets his 1,000th strikeout for the Tigers. What does the future hold for the Detroit Tigers? Is October in our future? It's too early to tell. Lost a big one today against the Orioles through 12 innings. A bad loss, in my opinion. A very bad loss. Should have clinched that one. You're kind of getting close to parity when you talk about your record, but you got to get over the hump. And depending on who you ask, it might be too little too late. Okay, bringing Bet with Gin, the Bet with Gin segment. We talked about this. The odds were, I believe, plus 180 at 4.5 wins. This is a couple weeks ago. So now the new standard line, the new baseline, which is kind of a standard line unless you tease it down or tease it up, depending on what you want to do with the odds structure. The baseline is over under 3.5 wins for the Michigan State Spartans in the regular season. Now, can you believe this? Can you believe this? Pat Fitzgerald took the stand today, took the podium, and said, we're going after a Big Ten championship. Now, those are fighting words. I like to hear that. I like to hear some fight. I like to hear some passion and pride representing the green and white along the banks of the Red Cedar. I love to see it. I love it. So if you have nothing else and you have pride and you have hope and you have ambition, then that's a great place to start. I like that. I didn't see that with Jonathan Smith at the helm at MSU. Maybe we'll see that with Pat. So we took this at 10 units. We took the over. We took the over and smashed it, minus 200, 10 units. Obviously, if you can do the math, minus 200, that is your bet. You get half of that. Parity is essentially minus 110, minus 100. You're splitting the hairs between those 10 basis points. So minus 200 is half of your wager. We went in with 10 units. Damn it, I hope we can get to 4 wins. And we'll cash that out. Hopefully we can make it happen early. I mean, there should be some semi-guaranteed wins in there. Right? If we're not and we're talking it's all hot air coming out of Pat Fitzgerald's mouth, then damn, that's pretty damn sad. If you can't win a couple of those early preseason games before you get into conference play, then God help you. That's all I can say. Hit the woodshed. You're gonna get the beating of a lifetime at the woodshed, and not the beating that we used to have when it happened to other teams. It's gonna happen to us. So we got the same high hopes that Pat Fitzgerald has. I know I do, and we're gonna hope for the best. That's all we can do. It's all we can do. Okay, we'll finish off with the Johnny Golf segment. And basically, this is the be-all, end-all for the driver. And hopefully I can go back and watch this and use it as a reference when I am having gripes with my driver almost indefinitely. It's inevitable that it will happen to you. It's happened to me. Maybe if it's not happening to me right now, it will happen again. And you got to deal with these things. You got to take them with grace and take them in stride because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to have problems getting off the tee. You're going to have problems with the driver. It's going to collect dust in the bag. You might even go as far as taking it out of the bag. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad, but this is the be-all, end-all. And listen closely. So you want to have your backswing. You want to get shallow with the backswing. Shallow with the backswing. Not steep. Not steep and straight up. You want to get shallow. So you're kind of back here as if you're hitting a baseball bat. And what that's going to allow you to do, and don't really worry about the wrists right now. Don't worry about the wrists. What it's going to let you do is get shallow. Shallow, which we've said this before too on this show, and I've said it and I've written it down in notebooks. That'll allow you to get shallow with the follow-through. If you get shallow with the follow-through, it's easier to sweep the golf ball. So that's it. That's really all you got to do. Practice it at the range. Beat the hell out of it. And commit it to muscle memory if you can. But that's the best way to do it. Get shallow with the backswing so you can get shallow with the follow-through. I've tried before where I'm getting really, really down low and I'm bending my knees and my knees are almost touching the ground because I'm getting so low because I want to have the club come through shallow. But you don't have to do that. Just start it with the backswing. Get this shallow backswing here. Not here. Get it here. Okay? Get it here. And then you're shallow with the follow-through. Very easy, very simple. Just go out there and do it. That's the hardest thing about golf, is going out there and doing it. Being your biggest cheerleader for yourself. Following all the rules to the best of your ability. Committing good things to muscle memory. And not forgetting them from one time that you play to the next. Remember up here, between the ears, and your muscles will follow. So that's it. Don't want to beat that too much because it really is the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Don't be stupid. Keep it simple. Very easy. We'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting late here on the East Coast. Make sure to check us out on social media at Gin Sports Network on IG. Find us on the web at ginsportsnetwork.com and find me on Twitter and IG at Gin Commish. We'll keep the conversation going there. But for now, I'm John J. II with the Gin Sports Network podcast. We'll see you here next time. Have a great night.